Human Settlements Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi has concluded her participation at the WEF Summit in San Francisco. The three-day summit brought together business, government, civil society and academia to explore innovative solutions for urban development. Meanwhile, the Department of Human Settlements has started a series of engagements to review the performance of housing delivery in all metropolitan municipalities in the country. The Human Settlements Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi joins us. She says her department is concerned about the performance of the metros, with leadership and governance instability being a major factor in the performance of human settlements delivery. Minister, pleasure to have you. Thank you very, very much for joining us here on the program.
Thank you, Leanne, and good morning to your viewers at home.
So we're focusing in on obviously the 100 days of the GNU, but this has been a portfolio that you've held since August 2021. Would you say much has changed since the GNU, or has it just been you've kept your head down and you've carried on doing what you were doing since before?
What is good for me, Leanne, is that I'm able to continue with the work that we started in the sixth administration. For example, the issue of a white paper policy, we started that work, concluding, should be releasing it end of November to the public as an approved document. We're currently in the cabinet system, so I'm looking forward for that to be concluded. Also, in terms of delivery, service delivery, one is already paying attention to areas that I identified previously as key gaps and what needs to be done. For example, emergency housing gaps there. We had to finalize the framework. So it's more continuation of what was already started in the last administration, because it was about 2 years that I was in the portfolio, and major focus as I started was around stabilization of the portfolio, which I achieved towards the end of the sixth administration, ensuring that the boards are in place. So the governance issues there within the portfolio itself has been an issue. Now we're looking into the review of the grant system. As you know, human settlement is it's a shared responsibility between ourselves, the provinces and municipalities. So we are looking at how do we improve on the grant system so that it can deliver better and quality services.
Yeah. Minister, one of the, obviously we open this up to viewers and they've got their own comments and a lot to say about this, but I think for me, just having a broad look at what people are just saying and the concerns that they have, I think the biggest concern is the corruption within the department, and when it comes to housing and housing allocation. I mean, the first one that jumps up at me just came in now saying, please do an audit on how many South Africans own those RDP houses. Of those who own them, how many are related to local politicians? How many are under someone who does not know that they have a house, but someone lives there? Let's find out. One person can have so many different sites. That's just one comment. And I know that there are many, many, many. It's that you've got to be paying people and doing bribes to make sure that you get a house. And this is a big problem. It's nothing new. It's been there for a while. What are you doing to get rid of corruption in this?
Okay, firstly, I'm going to explain what we have announced in the last media briefing in how we are going to tackle that. But I need to remind viewers that local government, I do not have authority over local government. So you can't fire an employee of local government. I can't charge them. So we rely on councils because they are a different level of government with their autonomous responsibilities in terms of the work. But where we find that there's been reports that are given that something wrong has happened, we definitely bring in law enforcement on our portfolio, especially if it relates to grants. What I did announce in the last media briefing I held at the beginning of the seventh administration was that we have received a lot of complaints from citizens about one, their names appearing that they've benefited, to find that they have not benefited. So a whole lot of manipulation of the beneficiary system. Beneficiary management is currently at local government. We're doing two things. One, digitization of the beneficiary list would assist us for transparency and ensuring that there is no manipulation of the system. The second issue we have agreed with the team that we are going to get a team of forensic that can work together with the lawyers. The team is currently finalizing that process, which will do almost like an audit of all our RDPs, who is inside, who is not supposed to be there. And therefore, because we want it to be linked to prosecution as well, because we got reports, Leon, that some of this is done by gangs who are not just individuals, but they even go as far as targeting senior citizens and removing them out of the houses and threatening them. That's why we're bringing in the ability to prosecute, to take the matters and prepare for court so that we can open cases, but not cases that will be open only, but that can be prosecutable. Because currently we open a lot of cases, but there's no progress in that, because what we give to the police is not sufficient for them to be able to carry with the capacity that they have. So we've taken a decision that let's do our part and compile compelling evidence that can go to court and be getting people to be prosecuted.
Yeah, and it seems that this is it's a major issue because, I mean, you've given one example of the elderly, and many others are citing different issues that they're going through with all of the difficulties. So one puts it quite nicely, Michael Hello, saying the effectiveness of human settlement will not be possible to see because of the housing backlog. And that's another issue that must be discussed. So she may seem not effective whilst her department is just battling with this backlog and she does not communicate enough. So maybe that's a chance for you to communicate this backlog. Where are you at? And is it difficult to deal with the backlog when you're dealing with so much corruption?
Look, Leon, the first issue, I think, is what we believe it will assist us is the digital system. That will automatically say to people, this is who qualifies, who do not qualify. Majority of the people who are saying that they are waiting for RDP houses, we just came out of elections. We're doing a lot of door-to-doors. And as we walked into the house, somebody would say, I've applied. I said, give me an ID. You find that the person does not qualify. But our ability as the department to be able to communicate to this person to say, you are not qualifying, you have not been approved. That's where the difficulty has been. A person who's owned previously a property, whether it's land, whether it's a house, does not qualify to get an RDP house. Number two is a person who actually earns more than 3,500, does not qualify yet. And you find that majority of the people do not know that they do not qualify. I am Mmamoloko, growing up in a rural area. My family registers their site in my name. When I moved to Gauteng as work or whatever that I start wanting to start my family, I apply for an RDP. You find that I don't qualify because in the records, in the deeds register, I appear as a person who owns a land. And those are some of the things that we are trying to clear up. Another issue in terms of the policy review is the issue of the 3,500 yen. Majority of the people are complaining because they apply. Many of them would apply even knowing that they earn 3,600. And because they believe that with 3,600, it doesn't give you an ability to own a property or to get a loan. Now, they come to us, we say they do not qualify, and that's why we are reviewing that. Because the food basket is about 4.5.
Yeah.
So it's those issues that we're dealing with. There's a lot of work, as they're saying, that we have dealt with. Majority of the people, we're saying we are 2.5, but majority of the people who are there do not qualify in terms of housing needs. And
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was going to be the next question, is that minimum wage. I mean, you find me a place to rent and live with food and everything in terms of the minimum wage, which is exceptionally difficult. So you say that's under review and something that may very much so change. I want to quickly, I know we don't have much time, so I want to grab as many of these issues as I can. I want to put this question up that we got from a viewer as well that's writing in. So perhaps my producers can put it up. If not, I will read it and then hopefully it'll come up while I'm reading it. This is from Rikesh saying, people are in need of housing. There are numerous illegal occupations of land, and this has created unnecessary tension in the communities. What does the Minister intend doing differently in order to alleviate the problem? I hear a lot of words from the ministers, but very little action. So this is one talking about the illegal occupation of land.
Look, Leon, we must say it. Illegal is illegal. illegal occupation of land must not be encouraged. We must not agree to it. It denies us an opportunity to plan properly. And I know that majority of the people will say, we are living in informal settlements, we've gone to illegally occupy this land, but because government has taken long to provide us with houses. That is understandable if people are saying that, but we are saying let's work together to be able to provide quality housing. One, in the informal settlement upgrading program, there are quite a number of informal settlements that have gone. One, to provide temporary water and sanitation. That is done by human settlements. And people sometimes don't know. It's out of our grants that we give to municipalities, that municipalities are able to provide temporary water and sanitation in those areas. When we provide the reblocking, it's under our grants so that we can ensure that the informal settlements are sitting properly, they don't bend. But again, we are able to do service sites where we are able to provide water and sanitation bulk infrastructure in informal settlements. We can take, for example, just here in Four Ways, Zandspruit is one of the examples. You'd remember, over time, people at Zandspruit used to block Four Ways Road because they were protesting for housing needs. We have been able to work around the clock. A lot of work has gone into that. Service sites have been provided. Upgrading of that informal settlements has happened. So there are tangible work that you can see. The road in Diepsloot, that's human settlements, because we provide urban development grants to metros that are able to provide roads, electricity, water, and even recreational facilities within our communities. Yeah. So there's a lot of work that human settlements is doing through its grants. That's why we worry about performance of municipalities, because that's where our performance is.
Indeed, and I know you've mentioned that as one of the issues, but before we get to that, I want to ask you about the quality of this housing, because many people complain about the quality, and that, you know, this is something that is very, very questionable, is the kind of houses that people are getting. And then on top of it all is the construction mafia, because this is also an issue that you have to deal with. So in terms of the quality and this mafia, there has to be a link, no doubt. How are you dealing with this?
With regards to the quality of houses, you would remember NHBRC, which is our regulatory body that ensures the quality of houses, was not there when we started the program of the BNGs, RDPs. Now, majority of those houses are the ones that were built before we started the quality of house program in terms of monitoring and inspection, because you've got to enroll the houses, they've got to be signed off. Now, we recognize that there are gaps. And then we went for a housing consumer protection bill that was passed by both the houses in the 6th administration. We are waiting for the president to sign it into law, because that housing consumer bill will assist us to protect consumers, which are people who are sitting in the houses, not only RDPs, because we've got the responsibility to ensure quality housing. So anyone who is going to build will have to have a certificate to be able to prove that they can build. So our work around National Housing Regulatory Building Authority is improving. We are ensuring that even our own inspectors, actually, we have taken them through lifestyle audit, all of them. Unfortunately, 80% of them didn't pass. So we are looking at that. They not passed, but they had red flags that we are dealing with. So it's part of ensuring that we have credibility in our work. There's no compromising of the quality, but we want to encourage, if there are houses that have been built and they're less than 5 years, citizens must know that, especially in the RDPs, can claim from human settlements for those houses to be built, because we've got what we call warranty fund. But if they are less than 5 years as well, we are able to go back to the contractor and ask the contractor to fix those houses where there are problems. So there is mechanism in place to ensure the quality housing, and we have improved over time with the houses that we build. They're quite beautiful. Some of them, when you look at them, honestly speaking, you would not even think that they are PNGs. They're quite of high quality. I've gone to them. I've gone to visit them. With the construction mafias, it's something that we continue to deal with. We've asked the law enforcement agencies to assist us in this regard. They've asked us to clearly define in terms of our policy for the issues of 30% set aside, because for the SMMEs and women and people with disability and youth and military veterans, we are refining that so that it's very clear, and we are assisted now with the passing into law by public procurement bill. So we will be able to clearly assist law enforcement agencies that they can support us. What we encourage is that people, when they get this 30% as SMMEs in local, they must go and work. You can't be contracted to paint and then you do not, because the main contractor will not be able to finish the work. Yeah. So we are worried about that. But the construction mafias, these are thugs, must be arrested. Law enforcement agencies must just do what they did with the mining site.
All right. Minister, I so badly wanted to ask you about the metros and the leadership governance that you have said is a very big problem. And I was hoping you could identify those metros for us. But if you may, in 30 seconds, which are these metros? What were you referring to, or who were you referring to?
Yeah, we've had high turnover in Ekurhuleni. Currently, it's my red flag. We are working with we're setting up war room. We've set up war room in Nelson Mandela Bay. I'm hoping that the results will come through. I have not seen the results yet. Okay. Mangaung was problematic. We're starting to see the results. We are paying attention as well to. So all of them are a bit of a problem. Even Buffalo City used to perform well. We are seeing a bit of regression. We are attending to it as well.
Okay. Minister, thank you. Wish we had more time, but I'm glad that we did have you just addressing some of the pressing issues. Mmamoloko Kubayi is the Minister of Human Settlements, unpacking her time in office and some of the key priorities that she is focusing in on.